Hi and Assalamualaikum. We are from group number 1. We would like to introduce you the differences between 101 Dalmatian and the Cruella 2021. But before that, we would like to introduce ourselves first. Let's start. Setting.
So now I will explain about the setting of 101 Dalmatians. First, the place. The story is set in London, England. We see busy city streets, bars, bridges over the river, and rows of houses where people live. Later in the story, the action moves out to more open countryside. This contrast between the city and the country is important because it shows both the everyday life in London and the quiet place where the dogs try to hide and rescue the puppies. Next, the time. The events take place around the 1960s. This is a pre-digital era. People use home telephones, send letters, and travel in older style cars. The 1960s setting gives the film a classic look and helps explain how characters communicate and move around without modern technology. Now we have the social setting. The story shows a busy, somewhat individualistic city society. There is a clear contrast between Cruella Devil, who is a wealthy, fashionable, and obsessed with her appearance. Meanwhile, Roger and Anita, who lead a simple, loving life and care deeply for their dogs. This contrast highlight differences in values, which is Cruella's materialism versus Roger and Anita's kindness and compassion. And finally, we have the atmosphere or mood. When the puppies are kidnapped, the mood becomes tense and frightening. During the rescue, the tone shifts to adventurous and hopeful as the dogs and their friends work together. At the end, the mood warms into relief and happiness when the puppies are reunited and everyone is safe.
Now, I'll explain the setting of movie Cruella. First, the place. The movie is set in London, England, which is a very important city for fashion. Many scenes take place in a fashion studio, boutique, fashion shows, and elite parties. This place shows the luxury power of the fashion industry. At the same time, the movie shows the busy streets of London, which represent a harder and poultry lifestyle. Next is the time. The movie takes place in 1970s. During the time, punk rock culture became popular. People start to express themselves through music, fashion, and attitude. This period fits the story because it supports the idea of rebellion and change. Now, the atmosphere. The atmosphere of the movie is bold, dramatic, glamorous, and competitive. The fashion world is shown as the place where people fight for power and success. The use of loud pop music, strong colors, and unique costumes make the atmosphere more interesting and exciting. In terms of culture, the movie highlights punk fashion, creative design, and self-expression. Characters are not afraid to be different, and this reflects the spirit of 1970s. Socially, the setting clearly shows the difference between social classes. The rich elite world is represented by the baroness, who live in the luxury life. In the contrast, Estella background show the struggle of lower class streets life. Now, the significant changes between 101 Dalmatians novels and the Cruella movie 2021. There are several significant changes between the novel 101 Dalmatians and the movie Cruella. First, the place and environment. In 101 Dalmatian, the setting mainly takes place in home, farm, quiet areas. The environment is simple and safe, focusing on family life and the journey of the dogs. In contrast, Cruella is set in London, especially in the fashion world. is such a fashion studio, boutique, and elite parties. The setting is more urban, busy, and stylish. Second, the time period. The novel 101 Dalmatian is set in general modern time, without a strong historical influence. However, Cruella is set in 1970s, a time known for punk rock culture and rebellious fashion. This time setting plays an important role in shaping the character of the story. Third is atmosphere. In 101 Dalmatian, the atmosphere is mostly warm, adventurous, and family-friendly, even during the dangerous moment. Meanwhile, Cruella has a bold, dramatic, and competitive atmosphere, showing a harsh and cruel fashion industry. Lastly, the social setting. The novel focuses on family life and survival, with less emphasis on social class. But in the Cruella, the setting strongly highlights the gaps between the rich elite and the poor, making social class is key element of the story. Overall, the setting in Cruella is more complex and intense compared to the simple and safe setting in 101 Dalmatian. Character.
Now I will be presenting the character between the novel The 101 Dalmatian and the movie Cruella. I will start with the character Cruella. In the novel, Cruella is a pure villain. Her character is evil, selfish, and obsessed with food. She is served as antagonist with no backstory and no emotional depth. Her only motivation is to steal puppies and turn them into goats. She represents a very simple black and white idea of evil. However, in the movie, Cruella becomes the protagonist and is rated as an anti-hero. She began as Estella, a talented and creative girl who faced bullying, trauma, and the loss of her adoptive mother. Her transformation into Cruella is driven by pain, ambition, and her conflict with the parents. Because of this, she becomes a complex, emotional, and humanized character. Second, in the novel, The 101 Dalmatian, we have Mr. Jelly. Is a positive supporting character. He is kind, gentle, and supportive. The characters are simpler and less dramatic. Meanwhile, in the movie, we have Baroness and Catherine. The Baroness is the main antagonist, powerful and emotional hope. Meanwhile, Catherine is a tragic supportive character whose that influenced Estella's transformation. These characters do not exist in the novel but are essentially in the movie. Third, we have Jasper and Horace. In the novel, both of them are minor antagonists. They were as Cruella henchmen helping her steal the puppies. They are clumsy criminals with no emotional connection to Cruella and serve purely as villain side characters. But in the movie, their role changed completely. Jasper and Horace become Estella's supporting characters and childhood friends. They act like a family, supporting her emotionally and working together as a team. They care about her and even question her when she becomes too harsh. Lastly, the dog character. In the novel The 101 Dalmatian, the dog, especially Pongo, Mrs. and Perdita, are the protagonists of the story. They lead the rescue mission and the entire plot revolves around their baby. They are the true heroes. Meanwhile, in the movie, the dog become minor supporting characters. They appear throughout the film, but they do not lead the story. Instead, the movie focuses on the human emotion and relationship, especially the rivalry between Cruella and Baroness. Now, I will explain the significant changes in the adaptation between the character in the novel, The 101 Dalmatian, and the movie Cruella. First significant changes is the role of the dog. In the novel, the dog are the main hero, the center of the entire plot. But in the movie, they become the minor character because the story focuses on Cruella's human journey. Second is the humor group. Mr. Daly, who is gentle and supportive in the novel, is replaced by two characters in the movie, which is Baroness and Catherine. Baroness become the main antagonist and Catherine that become the emotional trigger for Estella's transformation. This human-centered change shifts the entire tone of the story between the novel and the movie. That's all from me. Bye-bye.
Plot.
My name is Nur Najamin Kirani and I will talk about the plot. First, we look at the original novel 101 Dalmatians by Dodie Smith. In the story, Cruella Devil is a pure villain obsessed with Dalmatian fur and represents greed and cruelty. The novel follows a classic Friday structure. Exposition, we are introduced to Pongo, Mrs. and the Daly family living comfortably. And in the rising action, Cruella becomes fascinated with the puppies and eventually they are kidnapped, creating the main conflict. And in the climax, Pongo and the dogs orchestrate a daring rescue mission to save not only their own puppies but dozens of others. In the following action, the rescued puppies travel through snow and danger as they return home. And in the resolution, the Dailies adopt all the puppies and Cruella is punished socially and morally. In this version, Cruella functions not only as the antagonist, she is not explored emotionally or psychologically. 2021 film Cruella, the storyline changes completely because Cruella becomes the main character. Instead of being a flat villain, she is portrayed as a creative and ambitious girl dealing with trauma and identity struggles. The film plot also uses Freitag triangle. In exposition, we were introduced to Estella's childhood and her dream of becoming a designer. And in the revelation, she enters the fashion world and begins clashing with the Baroness, who mistreat her and hide the truth about her past. And in the climax, Estella transforms fully into Cruella and exposes the Baroness in a dramatic confrontation. Following action, Cruella puts her plan in motion to take control, and in the resolution, she rises to power and accepts her new identity. This version presents Cruella as a bold, stylish anti-hero rather than a villain. And the most important part of the adaptation is the significant change in Cruella's role. In the novel, she is a symbol of cruelty and selfishness, but in the film, she becomes a character we understood, follow, and even support. This shift from villain to protagonist changed the entire message of the story. The novel teaches that good triumphs over evil. The film explores how a villain can be shaped by their environment, trauma, and ambition. It also reflects modern storytelling trends where audience want complex character with deeper motivation. Cruella is no longer one-dimensional. She has personality, conflict, and growth. So the adaptation doesn't just change the plot, it changed the moral perspective, the tone, and how the audience emotionally respond to Cruella. This transformation is what makes the film version significant more than the novel.
Theme.
In the 101 Dalmatians by Dodie Smith, the story takes place mainly in London and the Suffolk countryside. In London, we see the Durley family's home near Regent's Park, where Pongo and Mrs. live and where the puppies are born and later kidnapped. The famous Twilight Park also starts here, spreading news across the city. The setting then shifts to Suffolk, where the puppies are held at Hell Hall, Cruella de Vil's old family mansion. Much of the rescue missions happen across the snowy English countryside as the dogs travel with the help of other animals. On the other hand, Cruella is set in 1970s London during the punk rock era. The films follow young Estella's rise in the world of high fashion, using iconic locations such as Soho, Mayfair, Regent's Park, Liberty London, and the Old Royal Naval College. The atmosphere is bold and rebellious, with punk-inspired visuals, dramatic fashion, and also a vibrant soundtrack that highlights Estella's transformation into Cruella de Vil.
Moral value.
Hi, I'm going to talk about the moral values of 101 Dalmatians. Firstly, how love is conveyed and their strong family bond. For example, Pongo and Mrs. show deep love towards their puppies. They have to travel far, face many challenges, but they never give up. This shows how far parents will go out of love for their family. Secondly, take responsibility and have some empathy towards animals. For example, by the end of the story, the Darrells decide to adopt all the puppies and make it 101 Dalmatians in total, as they believe that every animal deserves a loving and permanent home. Thirdly, always help someone in need. For example, many animals help Pongo and Mrs. when they are on their mission to save their children, such as the cat in Hell Hall helps the puppies to escape and the cows help them by giving them food. This shows that small acts of kindness can make big difference. I'm going to talk about the moral values about the movie Cruella. Firstly, become fearless in order to success. From the movie, Cruella plots a scheme on Baroness by targeting her success and reputation. She begins disrupting every event that Baroness attends with her crazy and extravagant dresses. By doing so, Cruella steals the spotlight as someone who is bold and creative. This shows that you need to be brave and willing to take on challenges, as it helps you to step out of your comfort zone. Secondly, to be yourself. As you remember from the movie, Cruella's mother tells her to fit in the society, but of course she doesn't listen to her. As soon as she starts working with the Baroness, she begins embracing what makes her different, and it becomes the biggest turning point of her life. This shows that don't be afraid to become yourself, as every people has their own individual qualities, and when you deeply know yourself, you are more likely to live a happy life. Thirdly, togetherness in family. As we all know, Cruella's mother is dead, and ever since she has lived with Jasper and Horace that shares the same fate as her. Jasper and Horace help Cruella a lot to get her revenge, and Cruella also helped them to get out of jail, as she considers them as a family. This shows that true family is not only about blood relations, but about the people who stands with you through hardship and support you unconditionally.